Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the live edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Hope that you will bear with me tonight because I have not slept in about 72 hours. All of you that have reached out with your thoughts and prayers for my father, I appreciate it very much. So does he. He loves the show. He tunes in as often as he possibly can. All my family does. So I will tell you that prayers are good. And he is doing better today than he was yesterday. He has a long way to go. When you're 86 years old and you come down with influenza A, and then it becomes pneumonia and you become septic on top of that, it is a battle. He's a very, very strong and tough man. And I'm very optimistic that he will pull through this and be back healthy and strong very, very soon. But your thoughts and prayers are very important to us and the family. And we recognize them, and we want to say thank you. So we appreciate it. I will have there's an exciting guest that's going to be coming on the show. I'm not sure if it's going to be Thursday or it'll be next week. We're working out the details right now as far as when that's going to happen. We may end up having to pre-record the interview because of their schedule, which is way more than my schedule. I would love to tell you who it is right now, but I can't until we know that this is all locked in. And but that's going to happen soon, and be looking forward in the community section or a little quick video that I'll put out advertising who the guest will be. It's someone that every Republican, every Trump supporter, every conservative is very, very aware of, and also a personal friend of Donald Trump's. So I'll leave it at that. A little teaser for you. The show will be a little short tonight, I think. I'm going to try and get through all this as quick as I can because I just got to get some sleep. I'm pretty damn exhausted. So let's kick this off real quick here, folks. One of the biggest questions that I get, I wanted to take a moment to answer that. For those of you that are asking this question, is why would anyone vote for Kamala Harris? Who is that person out there, that voter that's going to vote for this person? You know, they claim that the polls are neck and neck, and there for a while she was ahead in the polls, and he was down, and now they're saying he's kind of creeping up a little bit. And you know, let me tell you about the polls. Let's go back to 2016. The polls showed from the very beginning all the way up to election evening that Hillary Clinton was walking away with this in a landslide. Her poll numbers were way better than Donald Trump's throughout the entire campaigns. And pretty much, in fact, I believe this was actually uttered by numerous people on MSNBC and CNN, that it's useless for Republicans to even show up at the polling booths because she's winning by a landslide, because that's what the polls showed. And they did. They sure as hell did. And it was just the opposite. Donald Trump won by a landslide. So I don't know if it's because the polls are just BS and they're just screwing with us again. I don't know what to tell you there, other than I wouldn't put much credit into them whatsoever. Even if they start showing that Donald Trump is ahead as we go into the final stretch here before election by leaps and bounds. Just don't trust the polls. Trust your instinct, trust your gut, get the hell out there and vote. That's all I can tell you about that, all right? But I get emails all the time, many, with people wanting to know who are these people that are voting for her. So, who are you? Those voting for that laughing hyena and her stolen valor running mate. Well, I'm here to give you that answer. You are a person that is okay with the fact that for 86 days now, Vice President Kamala Harris has not held an official press conference since becoming the Democratic nominee for president. You're okay with that. She's only done a few scripted sit-down interviews with liberal journalists who allow her to lie and do not hold her feet to the fire. You are pro-open borders, which means you are pro-Mexican cartel. You are pro-sex trafficking of women and children. You are pro-illegal drugs such as fentanyl coming into the U.S., killing Americans. And you're pro-gangs such as MS-13 and many others that are killing Americans and taking over sections of our country, such as Aurora, Colorado. You're anti-angel families, and you're happy that their loved ones were killed by an illegal alien. You're pro-Antifa. You're pro-BLM, burning down buildings to include police stations and post office, torching police cars, attacking police officers, taking over parts of cities, such as what they did in Seattle, and looting the hell out of stores. You just love that shit. You are pro no bail or jail time for those criminals committing these crimes. You're okay with Democrats ordering police to stand down and not stop these evil people. You're anti-law enforcement. You're anti-laws. You're anti-guns. You're anti-freedom of speech. Hell, let's be honest, you're anti-United States Constitution and our founding fathers. You're anti-U.S. military and anti-veteran. You're anti-Gold Star and Blue Star families, and you're happy that Blue Star families have their loved ones deployed all over the world in harm's way, and you're even more happy that Gold Star families lost their loved ones. You're anti-Israel and anti-Jews, and you're pro-Iran, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, and the Taliban. And it means you are pro-North Korea, China, world dictators, communism, and socialism. You're perfectly fine with paying high prices for gas, natural gas, propane gas, food, household goods, housing, rental, and having your taxes go to everyone else in the world to better themselves instead of you and your family. You're anti-common sense and pro-liberal ideology. You support black-on-black crime and the deterioration of black communities all across America. You support the murder of innocent babies that survive botched abortions and the murder of innocent babies in the 9th trimester. You're so anti-Trump that you are okay with an anti-American politicians such as Ilhan Omar, Rashid Tlaib, and AOC, and okay with the woman becoming your president who has a proven record of accomplishing absolutely nothing positive while being the vice president or while she was a radical liberal San Francisco DA. That even got GB upset. You are pro-college students being brainwashed to think Jews and Israel are satanic and should be eliminated. And you see nothing wrong with them supporting terrorist organizations such as Hamas. You are pro-entitlement. This means that you want to stay home and let your parents pay your bills. You want the hardworking people of the country to pay your way while you pretend the world sucks and owes you all the resources they gathered over their lifetime. You pretend to look for a job while crying that conservatives hate you. You're anti-business owner. You don't want anyone to make money from their own hard-working hands. Entrepreneurship, you're against. You're okay with someone who is guilty of stolen valor, lying about their military record, and as a governor allowed Antifa to burn down and loot a city. AKA, you are pro Tim Walz, her running mate. And you are someone who actively works to tear down our republic and our reputation as a strong nation. Simply put, it means that you hate Donald Trump so much that you would prefer to be anti-American than see him back in office. You believe the lies of the liberal news media, such as MSNBC and CNN, that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, that Donald Trump is a racist bigot, that Donald Trump is a Nazi, and will take away all your rights and freedoms if elected because you're too damn stupid to do your own homework and your own fact checking. And you're happy that there's been 2, possibly 3 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. And you're even more happy that there were people killed at his rally than when they tried to kill him because they were supporting Donald Trump. The bottom line, you are nothing but an anti-American piece of garbage, and you should be deported out of this country. That's who is voting for Kamala Harris. And I will back that shit up to my grave. I don't give a damn what you think of Donald Trump. What I care about, if you think he's so freaking horrible and he's going to do all these things that the left tell you he's going to do, guess what? Newsflash, that's the same shit they said in 2016, that he was elected president and nothing they said he was going to do came true. Nothing. And oh, by the way, all this speech from the left about how there was not a peaceful transfer of power. There was, folks. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris went into office. Donald Trump left when he was supposed to, the day he was supposed to. So take January 6th and shove that up your ass. As we get closer and closer to this election, Democrats will stop at nothing to rig and steal the election. We've already seen it. And here's even more proof to that statement. California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed legislation that prevents, are you ready for this? Local governments from requiring voters to present identification to vote. A law aimed at curbing conservative efforts in cities like Huntington Beach, California. The new law is a response to Huntington Beach's controversial voter ID requirement, which was passed by the city's residents in March. That's what the city residents wanted. In April, California Attorney General Rob Bonte and Secretary of State Shirley Weber sued Huntington Beach to invalidate the law, arguing the local measure violated state voting protections. The right to freely cast your vote is the foundation of our democracy And Huntington Beach's voter ID policy flies in the face of this principle, Bontes said in a statement when the lawsuit was filed. California is one of 14 U.S. states that do not require voter ID for elections. And that is according to the National Conference of State Legislators. Authored by State Senator Dave Min, the legislation was passed by the California Assembly and Senate earlier this year. Min, a Democrat running for Congress, introduced the bill so local government cannot impose their own voter ID rules, which he said disproportionately affects low-income, elderly, and minority voters. Let me just say something. Let me throw something out there. If you're an adult and you don't have an ID and you don't have a birth certificate, a driver's license, or a state-issued ID, a social security number, anything to prove who you are, then you don't deserve to be able to vote. I've never met anyone in my 62 years on this planet that doesn't have some sort of identification to prove who they are. So when the Democrats and the liberals spew that shit, let it go in one ear and right the hell out the other, because they're a lying piece of crap. Bring me the person that doesn't have an ID. I will bring them on this show and interview them and ask them, where in the hell did your life go so wrong, so bad? I mean, maybe if they're like the freaking Unabomber and they lived in a fucking shack up in the middle of a mountain range somewhere, nowhere near society with no running water or toilets or electricity, lived like a hermit. And I don't want that person to come down and vote. And why would they? They're off the reservation, folks. We cannot have 100 different charter cities making up 100 different sets of voting rules based on fringe conspiracy theories, Min said in a statement to the Los Angeles Times. Huntington Beach, led by a Republican city council, has defended its voter ID law, saying its status as a charter city gives it authority over local elections, and it does. The state's lawsuit challenged that position, arguing that state laws take precedence. The right to freely cast your vote is the foundation of our democracy, and Huntington Beach voter ID policy is absolutely wrong, they said. Look, Gavin Newsom, I don't know what to tell you, California. Not only did you vote for the son of a bitch, but the petition was put up and it went back to get him kicked out and remove him from office, and that didn't even pass. So if you're a Republican or conservative, just get the hell out of there. And I hope when Donald Trump wins in a few weeks that he builds the wall going from Southern California all the way up to hell, to Alaska for that matter. We don't need the far left liberal fringe of that part of this country in any way, shape, or form, because they're as anti-American as they get. You have to have an ID to drive a vehicle of any sort. You have to have an ID to get on an airplane. You have to have an ID to get into hell. If you want to go see Kamala Harris at a rally, guess what you got to prove to get in there? You got to have photo identification. just about everything we do in America requires you have to prove you're an American citizen, that you're legal. Name something that doesn't. Other than, oh, the Democrats won't know voter ID. Why? Because they need them to vote for them. Well, again, who are them? Who are these people that are so enfranchised? I guarantee you, out of all the people in America, the percentage that are adults that have no way to prove who they are, you could probably count on all fingers and toes on your body. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you have more than I do because you happen to be involved at a nuclear spill plant somewhere. And when you pee, it glows in the dark too. And you've got extra fingers and toes. And here's even more proof that the liberal Democrats will do anything to rig or steal this upcoming election. A liberal judge in a key battleground state has ruled that county election officials must certify results by the legal deadline, even if they have proof of fraud and mistakes. Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney of Fulton County, Georgia, ruled that no election superintendent or member of a board of elections and registers may refuse to certify or abstain from certifying election results under any circumstances. Now, I bet you if it was showing that day that it was a landslide for Donald Trump, this judge wouldn't feel that way. The officials do have the right to investigate their concerns about the vote count and to review related documents, McBurney wrote, but any delay in receiving such information is not a basis for refusing to certify the election results or abstaining from doing so. Election results must be certified by Georgia's individual counties by 5 p.m. the Monday or Tuesday after the race. The ruling was handed down the same day Georgia residents head to the polls for early voting, which runs from October 15th through November 1st. So today. The suit was filed by Fulton County Board of Registers and Elections member Julie Adams and backed by American First Policy Institution, a conservative group aligned with former President Donald Trump. Adams had voted against certifying the presidential primary results in May. She then sued the Fulton County Election Board, arguing she was not able to fulfill her duties as a superintendent after the document's request was denied, and that she was within her rights to not certify the results. Adams had requested further documentation related to the election ahead of the certification deadline to confirm accuracy of the results. Fellow county officials denied her request. However, arguing that certification was a mandatory facet of her role and that the request was outside her scope of duties. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. So it doesn't matter to this judge. You can have people coming out of the woodwork, lined up in front of a camera saying, I voted twice. I voted 3 times. I'm not the right person that should have voted. There can be video evidence. There can be stolen ballots happening and proof that it's happening. Doesn't matter. According to this judge, nothing matters. It's got to be done. Period. And the same judges in and around Fulton County and other swing states, these same folks are saying that it's too close to the election to remove people that they have now found are on voter rolls that are illegal aliens. They can't be purged. They have to be allowed to vote. That's the America we're living in, with these current people occupying 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Tren de Agua, the Venezuela prison gang, is putting the loco and locomotive with the New York City robbery spree that sees its young members repeatedly staying out of jail. Juvenile illegal immigrants in the gang have been attacking people in the Big Apple, in Times Square, and other landmark locations, but remain free to the Empire State's lenient laws on juvenile crime, regardless of the fact that they're a gang member illegally here. According to New York PD's Detective Bureau Assistant Chief Jason Savino. It's shocking to say the least. And we've seen a progression with this group. The suspects, some of them young as 11 years old, are being housed in the former Roosevelt Hotel, which the city converted into a migrant shelter after an influx of border crossings thousands of miles away. The New York Post reported earlier this week about it. The suspected gang members have been posting pictures and videos with their guns online, according to the New York PD. We've known they have access to guns, evidenced by the fact that they're pointing these guns when they're robbing people. And they've been brazen enough to showcase pistols and rifles on all their social media profiles. Roosevelt Hotel closed its doors on 45th Street in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic and reopened as a migrant shelter. Nearby, the Road New York City Hotel is in similar state. Outside both, loitering migrants have been photographed taking drugs and alcohol as the migrants-fueled crime wave is overtaking New York. This is the first formulated group that we found, with a group of about 20 individuals that, in packed format, hang out every day. They post on social media. They boast about their gang. You see little pockets in and around Times Square and in and around shelters. The 20 members of a subset of the gang, called itself Los Devotos de la 42, in reference to New York's 42nd Street, have been arrested numerous times in connection with 50 different separate crime spurs, and then let back out because they're juveniles, not go to juvenile detention like an American kid would. When they first came, they were actually encouraged not to commit crimes, so they stuck to pickpocketing. Then they graduated to snatching, soon after scooter crime. Why? Because their original criminality did not have consequences. He blamed New York's lenient treatment of juveniles and even adult criminal suspects for failing to deter the gang from getting worse. The individuals that actually engaged in that criminality become empowered, he said. The worst attacks, he said, are called wolf pack robberies, when 5 or more suspects surround tourists and shake them down for their belongings. Some involve guns, while others involve knives. Despite the uphill battle keeping juvenile suspects locked up, they said his team continues to make the arrest and gather evidence as the judges send them right back out the door. We're labeled as the greatest detectives in the world for good reason. They come back with that frustration. What do? We regroup. We build even better cases. Nearly 200,000 migrants seeking asylum have arrived in the Big Apple in just the past year, since January, according to city officials. More than half are expected to have their claims denied, but until that happens, they're technically considered in the U.S. legally, according to the Biden-Harris administration. As migrants continue to pour across the southern border, this prison gang has expanded from its base in Venezuela into numerous cities across America, to include New York, Chicago, and, as we've been reporting on, Aurora, Colorado. The gang has also been linked to small-town crimes, including Aurora, Colorado, Athens, Georgia, with a suspect in a murder of a nursing student, Laken Riley, has been linked to suspected members. The gang was blamed for an explosive rise in the cell phone and purse robberies in New York earlier this year. Now members are growing more brazen, conducting gunpoint robberies in broad daylight, boasting on social media, and remaining out of jail as juvenile suspects are not held in custody. It is absolutely pathetic what this administration of Biden and Harris has done on our southern border. Speaking of her, Democrat presidential candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, will sit down with Fox News Channel's chief political anchor, Brett Baier, for an interview tomorrow in Pennsylvania. It will be Harris' first formal interview ever on Fox News. It will air October 16th, edition of Baier's special report at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Brett Baier will anchor a special report from the battleground state of Pennsylvania that evening. Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, joined Fox News Sunday for the second straight week on Sunday, as the Democrat ticket has amped up media appearances in recent weeks, just not holding press conferences because, they can't predict what's going to be asked of them. And has been given a pass after pass and not fact-checked to his stolen valor face. Fox News let him get away with all that shit. Just like I'm sure Brett Baier is going to do with Kamala tomorrow. If he holds her feet to the fire and calls her out for her lies, I will be shocked. I will be tuning in to watch it when it airs. I hope you will too. Special Report is regularly among the most watched programs in cable TV. In popular Common Ground segment features political leaders from across the aisle discussing the issues of the day with the goal of finding middle ground. It's been hit with this election cycle. Harris' first interview with Fox News comes as she stepped up her media appearances. And all of them have been with friendly outlets, people that are liberal and like CNN and MSNBC, and people that are not going to hold her feet to the fire. And so she chose one of Fox News's borderline liberals himself. While she's set for an interview with 60 Minutes, that's been criticized as the network aired two different answers to the same question about Israel. She followed up with friendly interviews of ABC, The View, Stephen Colbert, and Howard I Can't Stand Donald Trump Stern last week. Brett Baier co-led Fox News Channel's Special Democracy 2024 coverage of the Democrat National Convention and the Republican National Convention, in addition to multiple political events, which have consistently ranked number one in all television, outpacing cable news and broadcast coverage. Brett Baier also moderated Republican presidential primary debates and town halls with candidates across the political spectrum, including former President Trump, Harris' opponent in the 2024 election. Do you think that if Sean Hannity was going to do the interview or anyone else at Fox News besides this guy, Brett Barr, that she would do it. If you do think she would sit down with somebody else at Fox News besides him, lay off the Hunter Biden crack because it's affecting your brain. Anyhow, you had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me and watch me pull this off without sleeping in 72 hours. And I tell you what, in about 30 minutes, it's going to be lights out. And I'm going to sleep like a friggin' rock. I promise you. I'm done for the night, my friends. It was iffy on whether or not I was even going to come on and do this show tonight. The last time I did anything similar to this, it turned out to be really, really embarrassing the next day when I watched it and realized just how out of it I was because I was so freaking tired. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. But you know what? My life throughout, well, most of my life as an adult, by serving in the military as well as serving in law enforcement, you go a lot of time with no sleep. That's just the way it works. And you drink a lot of coffee. They say that coffee's okay for you. I sure hope that's the case because with my luck, they're going to come out for a special investigation soon. It says, oh, if you drink more than 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day, you can get cancer. And I drink probably about 10 cups of coffee a day. Remember, they used to tell us that about milk. You know, milk's great for you. Then they came out and said, oh, no, don't drink too much milk and it can kill you. Eggs are great for you. Oh, no, eggs are going to make your cholesterol go up. Oh, eggs is not going to make your cholesterol go up. And it's just all over the board. I don't know if they know what anything is good for you or not good for you. But I don't think going without sleep is very good for anybody, and I don't recommend it. Okay, let's leave it like that. Folks, I'll be back here Thursday. That's the plan. Obviously, depending on how my father's doing. Once again, thank you so much for all your thoughts and prayers for my daddy. He's aware of them, and we've had a lot of good discussions in the past 72 hours. I've been sitting by his side pretty much nonstop, other than to step out to grab a bite to eat. He's a good man. And I know that, you know, in life, what do we get out of it? Well, you can't stay here. You just can't. Nobody can. And to leave, you must pass. It's going to happen to my dad. It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to you. And that's just how this circle of life goes. So I hope that he does a full recovery. I'm optimistic of that. And I hope he's around for many more years. So please keep your prayers coming. I can just tell you that tonight he's better than he was yesterday. And yesterday he was better than he was the day before. And let's hope that it continues in that direction. So thank you. It's very much appreciated. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. And please keep in your thoughts and prayers all those that were affected by these last 2 hurricanes in Florida, up in North Carolina, in Georgia, in Tennessee, in Kentucky. There's a lot of people that we don't even know how many people were killed. There's so many people still missing. Entire families wiped away in a matter of just minutes. And sadly, we have another system out in the Atlantic that looks like it's heading right for the Gulf of Mexico. So it's hurricane season's not over with. It's going to be a doozy this year, that's for damn sure. And I wish that wasn't the case. Take care. I'll see you back here on Thursday. And hope everybody has a wonderful and blessed evening. Good night, everyone.